Are Paper X washed? Because if you look at the VLR page, it's not looking too pretty, and I don't know if we've seen Paper X lose 3 in a row in a very long time. Obviously, we have the Masters London Grand Final loss to Leviathan, where they kind of fizzled out at the end of that BO5. Then we have the EWC Best of 3 loss to NRG, and now we have a loss to Carmine Corp, which some people would say are the worst team in EMEA. So what's happened to Paper X? I don't really know. But over the next 3 days, we're going to discuss and break down each of the 3 losses and talk about what Paper X are doing wrong, you know, what they could do, what they could improve on, and what they need to do and how they need to play going forward. Because I don't think we're seeing prime Paper X. I think we're seeing a comfortable, maybe tired, and maybe they're just chilling because they've already made it and qualified to champs. I don't really know, but what we're going to do is learn from their mistakes. So we're going to start with the NRG game because that's the most recent one that I have prepped, but we're going to go over all 3, so it doesn't really matter. But we're starting with pistol round. Pretend this is Paper X. The production quality EWC is pretty horrible. It doesn't really matter. The Paper X are set up in a 3-1-1, and their plan isn't inherently bad. It's just unlucky for them. NRG are going A. Now, there's nothing wrong with the setup, and I also enjoy this Viper Wall a lot. It allows you to make D pushes into B. It allows you to crunch mid and also blocks off the door, but it also covers double door. So it's a really good, nice Viper Wall. And as we can see, Energy are just slamming inside. We have the knife, we have the dart, we have High Tide that covers so much ground for Energy. But the problem I do have with Paper X is how they handle the retakes. You're going to see in a second, all the Paper X are grouping up into spawn. We're going to send a lot through bridge, a lot through, I guess you want to call this elbow, right? And the offense are going to deploy another cove to give Jet a little more cover, right? Just to give her something to rat around and play in. Now, I don't know if this is necessarily like a misplay. I do think just shots end up being hit, but if you look at the map, you'll see KO peek out, take a couple pot shots at Jet and lower her HP. Something is clearly distracted by the KO while Devi is getting ready to swing into the smoke. So you're going to see in a second. We're kind of just on different pages. You know, Viper swinging in, then Jet swinging in, and obviously the trade on Kiko. Now, the problem that I have with this retake is this mid-sight smoke that you see from Jing. Now, on a retake, I genuinely think it is really important that you save your smokes for 2 things. One, either the choke, but more importantly, the spike. Because when you smoke spike, you tap the defuse, it forces the attackers to swing, allowing you guys to swing out of the smoke or play around the smoke and kill the people that are trying to swing you. But this smoke isn't very good in my opinion. I think saving it for the spike or even main would be better in this situation because you're going to see in a second, the Paper X get the trade, but how are they going to defuse without any other utility? The Paranoia goes in, and as a matter of fact, Energy are actually using this smoke against Paper X to take cover from the Paranoia, and Energy absolutely doogie on the retake. So you see this again, the Omen Paranoia comes in, KO and Viper hide inside, and now when you're Neon and Omen, like, what do you do? Because there's people mid-site, there's people in main, you're running into a jumbo crossfire, so like, if you smoke main, maybe these guys can leak out, but at least you're forcing them to take fights against you. So this retake wasn't good, the coordination wasn't good, and it just doesn't seem like a normal Paper X. So Paper X obviously had a save, they get dookied on, and now it's time for their first full buy. And you guys know as well as I do that Paper X love making boneheaded decisions and making our lives as fans stressful. And that's what you're going to see this round. So they're set up in a 2-2-1 where you see Omen lined up like this to blast his Paranoia up this lane, and you'll see this pretty commonly when duelists want to push and take this peak. If a duelist gets on this line, they basically confirm that nobody is B, and then you can kind of like go stack the rest of the map. So that's kind of their plan here. Sova also has a couple creative darts that land in this area from this position, and Neon, I suppose, is going to hold window or get ready to like stun and fly at these guys off the Paranoia. I'll show you guys in a second. So lucky for them, Energy are headed their way. So we're gonna go ahead and start the round. And you're going to see a lot of Energy swing window, right? We're swinging window. Forsaken sees them, right? So Forsaken sees, like, let's run this again. Let's see how many Forsaken sees. He sees, like, Viper, at least. He sees a lot of guns. So everybody's shooting at this guy, right? And notice how as Jet and Omen are, like, walking down to make this play, Forsaken's decision, after seeing 3 people, by the way, is to jump spot and die. So, okay, so that's cool. But this death actually just tanks the rest of Paper X's game plan because Jing's plan was to sit here with his paranoia out and get ready to blind the offense, but because Neon is no longer holding this choke point, you know, players could be up close to the choke, like getting ready to pounce on this guy. And because nobody's here to protect him or like throw a relay bolts for him, he now has to put his paranoia away and focus on the choke. And then when Jet doesn't have her blind anymore, you'll see, so Jet has to swing blind, Ethan kills him, and then Jing swings into a smoke and kills him. So, it's just crazy how, like, one little movement error, one jump spot could just absolutely tank around for your team. And yeah, I don't know, it didn't really seem necessary to peak again after getting all that info. So Paper X ended up taking an early timeout, and out of that, after the first full buy, after dropping it, you know, they saved a couple guns, and they're able to buy up another in a Guardian. So, like, this round isn't entirely unwinnable, right? If the hero guns can make a play, they can turn the tide and momentum of this game. So their plan is to fight mid in a 3-2. You'll see in a second. Omen and Neon are going to walk down, push themselves up against Pillar, while the offense know that Paper X are on a save or like on a lower half-ish buy, whatever. So they're going to start the round playing a little more passive and are kind of waiting for the defense to show their hand. Now, I think it's important to play bits and pieces of this round because the mistakes that Paper X make in this one are something that, like, you would see in ranked. Like you would see ranked players make. And I'm not really even joking. It's really just one mistake and kind of like a not so great anchor job. But regardless, the offensive walked up mostly through elbow, and you're going to see in a second, they're going to make some noise in mid as well. So, like, elbow's clear, they drone through the door, plus the smoke that protects the drone. The drone makes it basically through double door and clears out a lot of, like, map control for the offense. So in the defense's mind, there could be players in elbow. You see them checking it now. There could be players in mid, and there could be players in A. We don't really have information anywhere, right? So I'm going to go ahead and skip ahead just a little bit, and you're going to see that the offense decide to group up and go slam A. And now, since then, the defense have cleared elbow. That's fine. But mid is still a big question mark. And obviously, they're going A, so, like, this is not so much, like, a crazy mystery anymore, right? Now, keep in mind, we only have 3 hero guns, a Guardian, a Vandal, and another Vandal. Now, when you are a hero gun, you have to be careful with your gun, and you need to make sure that you're dying in places that your teammates can pick up said rifle and, like, keep moving forward. So, like, then they can go make a play with it, right? So that means, like, if Forsaken dies, Jing picks it up. Okay, then he has a Guardian. And then if he dies and something picks it up, then if you're able to share that weapon with the rest of your team, it's kind of like everybody's had a full buy this round, right? You were on a full buy, then whatever this is, like a half buy, right? But look at how Forsaken rotates through mid. He just runs through and just doesn't even clear pillar. And then Devi on A, he can't get one. So, like, I guess you call that, like, unlucky, but Devi a little unlucky because he kind of whiffed. But, like, Forsaken just doesn't even look back here. Like, he glances for like a second, but then just keeps running. It's absolutely clobbered to the back of the head. Now, if you slow down this anchor job, you'll see that Devi actually does a good job of dodging this recon. He can't shoot it in time, obviously. And he knows Jet is quickly wrapping his A side, so he can't shoot the dart and Jet at the same time. So instead, what he decides to do is swing right. Right? So, like, he locks onto the harbor, lowers him, and he almost kills Brock. He, like, stops shooting at, like, the very last second, so that's a little unlucky, right? But I mean, so, like, they don't, like, he's not looking in, like, prime Devi form because Devi probably gets a kill or even 2 there. So I guess it's a little unlucky, but yeah, then something's able to pick up a gun. They try to go, like, pick up this round or try to find some kills somewhere. Spoiler alert, they can't, and they end up saving. And now Paper X ended up winning this round. I don't know if this timeout graphic is correct because the production quality in this tournament is pretty bad, but it doesn't really matter. Paper X ended up winning this round, but I don't think it's due to how they played. I think it's due to how bad NRG's plan was. And if this was coming out of a timeout, it could make a little more sense. But regardless, their plan is to basically, like, create a ton of pressure A and then, like, leave and go B. So you see at the start of the round, we see an instant KO flash, and we see a cove here on the left side of sight. And, like, this is a pretty standard, like, execute smoke that you would see. But what Jet's going to do in a second is Jet, after the flash, is going to cloudburst, turn the corner, and dash into this cove. Now, I think what Energy are trying to do is just, like, blitz A as fast and as hard as they possibly can, and just bank that Paper X aren't going to have somebody, like, I guess, in this part of the map. But I feel like it's a little ballsy to just assume that, like, nobody's going to be playing close or, like, in this area at all. Because once he's in this cove, right, like, the harbor pops the armor, so I'm pretty sure they want the defense to shoot this bubble and not shoot this recon that's like landing. You know what I'm saying? And then maybe like the bubble pops and like in the last fading seconds of the smoke, he's able to get like a spam kill or something cool. But it doesn't really work. Jing just camps inside, gets one, then Envy kills a person in mid, and then yeah, I mean they do drag a lot of the defense over that way. There's one person nest and 3 on A, but eventually I'm gonna go ahead and skip forward a little bit. What is it? Energy ended up going B. They ended up being surrounded from spawn, tunnel, and main, and they ended up losing. So I just thought it was a cool plan that didn't really work out, and I don't know if that's that great. It's cool, but I don't know if it's that great. And now we just see more unorthodox and just silly mistakes from Paper X. They're set up in a 2-1-1-1, but they finally have gotten something in op, which is like one of their main win conditions, and I think it's a strong win condition to have on Breeze, right? But Kiko has one of his own, and their plan, Energy's plan, is to split A, and the problem that I have with this setup is that the op is kind of on its own, and it's not getting any support. Now, you might be thinking that, like, oh, Envy's in Nest. He could just rip a recon and, like, pin it on this wall or pin it on this, like, any of these walls. But that's the issue, right? I'm going to go to play the round, and notice how as something is peeking out, the dart gets there, right? So, like, there's a smoke here. There's a dart here that landed on the floor or whatever that pushed something back. It allows Kiko to get set up on the line. But notice how something just peaks without any Sova util being used. We have a full Sova kit. Like, why don't we use if our plan is to repeak, why don't we just ask our Sova to, like, dart anywhere in mid so that we can, like, safely get on this line? Or, like, maybe he, like, knows not to get on the line because the dart gets broken, right? So then everything, because the jet goes down, everything just turns to shit really fast. We smoke double doors, and you see the offense just quickly scale into A. Now, the cool thing here, too, I want to point this out. Notice how these two are fighting for A main, right? You see Omen and Neon. Neon's holding the A line, and Omen is now turning back, like getting ready to like help double door or fight it somehow. But you're gonna see him in a second. He actually teleports on top of bricks as soon as the suppressor is off. So he teleports up here, and I think someone on Energy heard this teleport, and they're aware that like this guy could be up here, right? Because watch, so the offense scale into double door. Sova's gonna like send out his drone to go make sure Omen's actually up there. Neon swings out and breaks it, right? But like, watch this. The KO goes up. Watch the offense just absolutely pre-fire this guy. Watch this. You have an op literally trained on bricks. That's crazy. A jet op splitting A through all these smokes is just trained on bricks and absolutely obliterates Jing. Forsaken tries to swing a gate one, but he can't get any. Yeah, the whiffs are just not even whiffs. It's hard to hit those moving targets. But and then it's like, what do you do if you're Envy and Devi? It's a 2 versus 4. Like, do you just save? I mean, I guess. See, now the problem with losing back-to-back rounds is that you're allowing your enemy to build up ults, money, and you make it impossible to get back into this game because Valorant is so snowbally in nature. Like here, Energy have bought an extra outlaw for Kiko to farm because they know Paper X are going to be on all half armors, and then Mod is even opping on Harbor. That's how you know. That's how you know things are getting bad, right? But you know, the worst part is that also your team morale is going to be down, and then when you continually throw rounds like the one you're about to see here, it just makes things worse, and then it makes games impossible to win. So Paper X are in a 3-2 where Sova's going to help Jet this time, and the offense are going to work their way into mid. You're going to see that in a second. So the offense uses a KO flash. We see the Cove, and you're going to see that the defense react to this pressure by being like, oh, okay, Viper moves up to double door, Jet moves down. Maybe we should fight mid. We have a Viper wall here that cuts off a lot of avenues that that the attackers would play in to support this KO, right? So Jet and Viper move down. Ethan's making a ton of noise. The Viper wall goes up. We're swinging. We're double swinging. We're even sending the attackers are even Sova ulting, but we managed to escape and get out. Devi ends up getting 2, actually, because of his wall. Let me replay this. So, KO gets swung. Viper gets swung. We don't get to see the replay because the production quality in this tournament sucks. But 5v3 versus Paper X. But the issue I have here is look at Devi's next decision. Bro, where is he going? You are up 2 players. Just leave. Just get out. Instead, what we decided to do is stomp down mid. Stomp down mid even harder. We open the door, and we just die. Okay, well, we just lost our player advantage, so that's not necessarily great. But Paper X are still up 4 versus 3, so it's really not the end of the world. And then we're Sova ulting, we're trying to find another kill, and we continually keep fighting. And now, Paper X end up winning this round, but again, it's mistakes like these that just, they boil my blood as a Paper X fan, and it just makes it very, very stressful to watch this team. So this round's not as egregious as the last few rounds, but I still think it's worth pointing out. I think it's pretty interesting. So Paper X are set up in a 3-2. Their goal is to fight for A main this round. Viper's actually going to leave and go dip out in the mid in a second. But the A main fight, I think, is what we're focusing on here. So the round's going to start. We're going to see an exchange of a one-way for a KO knife that's going to push the defense back. Now, I'm okay with, like, Omen pushing back, but if our plan is to fight for A main, we don't really want to give up this space for absolutely nothing, right? So the one-way goes in, and if we're Neon, I feel like we need to hold our team's one-way and just hope that our Omen can be here in time to rip his paranoia and slow the offense down, because by giving up A main like this, you know, this hard, you kind of are forced to use some piece of utility to clear, like, anyone who has swung past the one way. Because watch, I'm gonna go and play the round as the defense are taking mid. Watch how Omen, like, has his paranoia ready for Neon to spot somebody, but you're gonna see Kiko just absolutely rip Forsaken a new hole with his op, right? So it's like, do we want to waste our paranoia on clearing out this little corner of the one-way? Well, not really. So how do we get around, you know, being worried about this? Well, we could, like, run, sprint, jiggle peek this with our Neon speed, but Kiko still, like, probably could hit that shot, right? So it's a little risky. But, you know, 4v5 isn't, like, the worst thing in the world, right? Now, I'm going to go and skip around a little bit because nothing really happens until the last bit of the round where, NRG decide to go slam B, and the only person here is Sova. So Sova really isn't an anchor agent. You kind of want your Omen with you, but lucky for Paper X, Jing has his Omen ult. So the offense are scaling in, Envy's taking a few shots, he gets suppressed, gets one, gets traded. That's really what you expect from your Sova player. But watch how Jing anchors backside here. So he's backside right now, and watch his paranoia. His paranoia goes up the middle of the lane. Like, it doesn't go up. You would think that when an Omen uses his paranoia, it'd be, like, up this left lane, because people are probably scaled around this way. Or you could even argue that you would send it, you know, send it this way towards Sova. But by sending it up the middle of sight, I feel like this doesn't really hit anything. I mean, and if his goal is to, like, stop the attackers as they're running in, I feel like his awareness is just too far gone, if that makes sense. I feel like you would blind the right side of sight because the attackers are so far in. Because Sova has seen, he hears the updraft dash, right? Maybe he doesn't know Jet is this far. But even then, I feel like the paranoia just doesn't make any sense, because when he swings out here, he's exposed to the side, and then Jet on his right. We can't see him. We can't see her on screen now. But I feel like this anchor job just doesn't make a whole lot of sense from Jing. And that's 2 rounds now where we've seen Omen's kit used in, like, a very inefficient way. So, like, again, I'm not used to seeing this from Paper X. Maybe they're just having an off day or something, or they're tired, or they're just not taking this tournament seriously. But I mean, there's 600 grand on the line in this tournament. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I don't have enough money, so I would be taking this seriously. But maybe they aren't. Now, I don't want to sit here and pretend that it was all doom and gloom for Paper X, because this round actually seems pretty coordinated, and I thought it was pretty sick. Paper X are rushing B in a 4-1, and you know NRG are going to be playing passive because they know Paper X are on a low buy, and their one win condition, Paper X's 1 win condition is Neon's ult. So, but I don't think these players are playing passive enough, as you're going to see in a second. So the round's going to start. We're going to see Omen toss a smoke into window, and once it blooms, we are going. We see Omen paranoia, Neon running down, activating the overdrive, noticing that somebody's here. We're going to see a Neon stun too. We dodge the whirlpool. All right, we see the Neon stun go in. We see the recon bolt. What is it? Mata tries activating his code to protect himself, and it is 10 seconds, about 10 seconds into this round, and we are already up, ladies and gentlemen, 5-3, and that's 2 guns to pick up as well. So this was actually one of the rounds that Paper X end up winning, and from there it's like, what do you even do? Now, obviously we keep swinging because we're Paper X, and we make this a 3 versus 2, so we lose a little bit of our advantage. But we end up winning this. I'll play out the round for us so we can see exactly what happens. So Brock and KO are basically, Brock and Ethan are basically sitting in spawn, just letting the dust settle, trying to see if Paper X are going to keep swinging and, give them more freebies. Which, if you're playing against Paper X, that is, it's not crazy to expect them to keep swinging, right? But so much time passes. They're just sitting in spawn, testing Paper X's patience. And the longer they stay quiet, the louder the question marks become, right? A is completely butt naked, so there's a big question mark over on A, and it's going to force Paper X to make a decision. Well, do we go back and re-clear A, or do we just keep pushing? Well, they're going to keep pushing. But, unfortunately, I think Brock was waiting so long that he just didn't expect Paper X to be walking down this far, and this just ended up being a good mid-round, well-timed push, I guess push. I was going to say reclear, but more of a push from Paper X and a blindsided Energy. And now, I don't want to discredit Energy or anything because they are very good, and I do think they beat Paper X fair and square. I don't think Paper X lost this game for themselves, but the rounds that they're throwing didn't help. Now, Paper X did end up winning a couple rounds, but unfortunately, I do want to focus on Paper X's, I guess, mistakes. And so we don't really have I can't spend all the time in the world covering every single round, is what I'm trying to say. So, they obviously won the pistol, won the eco, or won against the eco. They lose the bonus, so now both teams are on basic full buys. Paper X were spread in a 1-2-2. You're going to see in a second. They're going to work mid a little bit, while the defense are going to fight mid in their 1-4-ish, 1-2-2. So, round is going to go ahead and start, and you're going to see a whole bunch of util gets thrown out. We see a smoke for door, we see a top mid smoke, we see an Omen TP across. This creates a ton of pressure in mid, because now somebody could swing from bot mid, from pillar, from door. We had, with this Omen TP, we now have 4 different angles that the offense can swing from. And now back on B, you'll see that something is holding a sliver into B main. He was walking up with the Marshall, and he was holding it, waiting for anybody to peek. Notices that nobody peeked instantly at the start of the round, so he peeks into sight, looks at the common Viper jiggle angle. First blood. You'd love to see that. Now, on Breeze, where rotation times are longer than molasses in January, and sites are impossible to hold, Paper X's plan now should just be to group up and go hit a site. There isn't a whole lot that's going to stop them. And if they just group up and do that, they're going to be fine. Now, their decision isn't like the worst. They decide to send Silva back over to B, create more pressure, commit more of the defense over to B. I don't know if it's like that necessary, but he's doing it anyway, and Envy actually ends up walking into B and finding a crazy timing onto Brock. Now, Paper X's, like, basic, like, solid, like, their core, their plan, I guess, whatever. Their main objective is to go split A. So we see 2 people going up A main, 2 people going up towards double door. But you're going to notice that the spacing on Paper X is like, I never see this type of bad spacing from them ever. And now it is a little crazy for Kiko to buy a judge on Breeze, don't get me wrong. But, when you don't have a lot of money, you gotta, you're gonna buy what you're gonna buy, right? But I'm gonna go ahead and rewind this again. It's just the spacing just isn't there. And I know it's a little harder to keep up while playing in Neon, right? But you see, like, Omen wasn't even, like, ready to go. He's still, like, looking back at the smoke while Neon's, like, running in. You'll see it in a second. I'll try to pause it. You see, like, Jing isn't even, like, ready to go at all. Like, I feel like he should be, like, running, sprinting, looking behind him, ready to trade his duelist, right? And let's pretend that Jing is behind him. Neon slides out, like, the crosshair moves. It moves far enough so that Jing can get a kill, but because there's enough time has passed, he doesn't feel comfortable swinging the judge. And now he's screwed, right? KO's now come over, Harbor's come over. It's now a 3 versus 1 in mid. The paranoia goes out, and he ends up getting swung by Mata through this cove and gets obliterated, right? And now this round gets a little weird, I'm not going to lie, but the awareness on Energy is crazy. So Envy ends up getting the kill, or completing the timing on a Brock, giving Paper X an entirely open B site, and something is trying to get there in time to try and plant. And now the thing is that Energy are already on top of this. After killing this guy in mid, they've immediately repositioned, are going into elbow, right? On this map, you kind of need to be proactive, and something recognizes that somebody could be there, but I don't really think that he really considers that people could be there, right? And I think that's kind of a mistake, because Harbor just got the kill on this Omen, right? And like mid's like a big question mark, and if Harbor was like on this half of mid, I don't think it's like that crazy to expect an instant elbow wrap, right? But then again, it's hard to keep track of these things in like a mid round throughout all the chaos. So it is hard to track, but if we are worried about this elbow peak, I think it's fair to say that we should be worried about elbow for most of the round, right? So Envy ends up taking spawn, right? And you're going to see something plant for spawn-ish, but you're going to see him get caught off completely from B main. And now, the thing with Devi and Envy's positioning is like, dude, you are so far away from the spike now, especially against a Harbor who still has a full kit. Like, I don't think you should. I don't think you can go this far off site. Like, I don't think it's this. I think you need to get to site and play on site, like, as quick as possible when the enemy team has a Harbor who can section off site with his high tide and use his cove to protect the defuse. Because now this round is GG's. Like, Ethan gets a kill on Devi lurking mid, so like it's crazy that he recognizes somebody could be there. But if you're playing against a Harbor, you can't really get too far away from the spike without dying. So, again, good awareness from Energy, but also at the same time, PaperX are making some silly errors. And now, you're not going to believe this, but PaperX actually go on a 4-round win streak and get really close to tying this game. But you guys know as well as I do that PaperX's Kryptonite are eco rounds, and you're going to see that, I mean, spoiler alert, you're going to see them lose an eco against an eco, right? So PaperX's plan, they're in a 2-3, they're going to start by pressuring B, eventually they're going to end over towards A. The defense in the meantime are trusting their Viper to solo A with this pretty neat retake wall. It covers up a lot of site, covers basically everything in double door and A main and in bricks. Pretty neat wall. But you can see by looking at the minimap that this early pressure has attracted 4 of the defenders, basically leaving Devi in his own. So basically he needs to go big or go home. The wall goes up because obviously the map's gone quiet, so Devi's a little suspicious that a hit is coming. Drone goes in, neon wall, and just watch this. This is why we buy the Phantom in 2026. It is the better rifle. If you still think the Vandal is better than the Phantom, you must be severely concussed. Regardless, that's a 3 versus 4 in favor of Energy, and you're going to see Energy here quick. They rotate through mid, they dash in, right? Kiko, unfortunately, gets separated off by the rest of his team. He gets separated from the rest of his team. What is it? Flash, smoke, the stun pushes the defense back into this double door smoke, making a 3 versus 3. Making a 3 versus 3, what is it? Favoring, I guess, PaperX since they have weapons in the spike planted. But the issue is that after this brawl, watch something. I'm going to go ahead and hit play. He just dashes away after getting a kill. He updrafts onto these bricks, and the defense hear this, right? They're aware. They're aware that something is updrafted. And where else could he updraft besides this tall box, right? He doesn't. There's no other reason for him to updraft, like for funsies, right? There's really no. Why else would you updraft on this site? So now the defense deploy a cove to try and help them leak back out and get to like backside, and then eventually wrap side and win. But Ethan with a Marshall, he heard that updraft, right? So watch him peek double door. Instant, just absolutely pre-fire something with the Marshall. Biggest kill. Now again, you can't play too far off of site against a Harbor because look, he separates Sova from his Neon, and it's like the spike is now in an awkward position too because Neon has to swing this wall to get back in, right? Brock wraps around backside, and it just, of course, PaperX losing eco. So not really sure what's wrong with PaperX, but I'm sure they'll figure it out in time for champs, right? They already made champs, and so the rest of this anything doesn't really matter. This is like a lot of them, they can now limit test and do experiment as much as they want, and hopefully they pick it up by champs. Now, if you want to watch a PaperX masterclass, check out this video right here, and if you want to join my watch parties, I watch party literally every single day. Click the links down in the comments.